Welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the BoshNRoll Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or listen sideboard guides before tournaments, check out the Patreon or YouTube membership program. This channel is possible because of these amazing sponsors. Check them out, all their links are in the video description. As always, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today, at the request of Patreon subscriber Justin, I am playing Lord of the Rings Flash, which is basically a deck full of cards from Lord of the Rings, all of which have the Flash mechanic. We've got Samwise the Stout-Hearted, 2/1 Flash, ETB, choose up to one target permanent card in your graveyard that was put there from the battlefield this turn, return it to your hand, and the ring tempts you. Orcish Bowmasters, we all know the words on that card. Sauron's Ransom, kind of an inside-out factor fiction that also tempts you with the ring. So we've got a bunch of stuff that moves in and out of play, generating value. And we have a reasonable path to get all the way up the ring temptation between Sam Caracas, Sam looping Sam, Sauron's Ransom, and Mystic Sanctuary picking up Sauron's Ransom. We have a lot of hits to get a ring tempting us. And you may look at this list and think, I've done this on the channel 2 times already, and both times it was pretty bad. Well, I've learned from those lessons. The deck might still be bad, I don't know, but at least we are making progress in the right direction. The last time I played this, it just couldn't actually win the game. There was a bunch of stuff like Orcish Bowmasters and Baleful Strix, but there was nothing that really made your opponent dead once you had control of the situation. Thus, 3 Murktide Regent at the top end, just one big hammy-whammy that can show up in a mid-game after you've Thoughtseized and Bowmastered and removal-fied your opponent's cards down to 0, and then you actually have a big banger that can win the game. Deck is super straightforward. Almost every card in it is a 2-for-1 when you cast it, and the cards that aren't 2-for-1s are like Force of Will, Swords of Plowshares, and Murktide Regent. So pretty good deal all around. Wasteland for some light disruption. Caracas both feeds your own Sam plan and can disrupt opponents meaningfully. Cling to Dust, 1 flex slot here that it's nice to have a little bit of incidental graveyard hate in your main deck. We do have white removal, so we're not that worried about Uro. I am actually super worried about combo, which has been what all of the Moto Leagues have been lately. I'm kind of tempted to play a 4th Thoughtseize now that I'm sitting here thinking about this. Just have to figure out what I'd cut for it. I'm looking at either a Baleful Strix or a Sam. Baleful Strix is really good on rate against all cards except Orcish Bowmasters. Sam is a legend. It's kind of tough. Takes some setup. Sorry, Sam. I know you were kind of part of the theme of the deck. Lord of the Rings flashcards. But I think we just made the deck better. And I'm going to rock with it. Okay, here we go. This is Lord of the Rings Esper Flash with ways to win the game now. Let's do it. On the play for round 1, I got a Thoughtseize into Baleful Strix. Please don't wasteland me, but even if you do, I have another land and Brainstorm to try to keep the game going. I really like discard spells in Legacy. I don't know if I've told the channel that recently, but having 4 Thoughtseize in this deck, just knowing what's going on all the time. Let's hope this pays out. Okay. We've got Caves of Chaos Adventurer, turn 1 Archon of Emeria, turn 1 Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Oh, yikes. Well, this Archon of Emeria is a problem. However, I think it's less of a problem than Caves of Chaos Adventurer, and I can't take them off 4 mana. They have 3 functional Lotus Petals here. Yeah, I'll take the Adventurer. Really wish I had a Force of Will right about now. Glad there wasn't a Blood Moon, though. But they appear to be Boros, so Blood Moon may or may not actually be in their main deck. Ancient Tomb, Petal. Let's see if they value the Fable or the Disruption more. Other Petal. Looks like they're valuing the Disruption more. That makes a lot of sense. That is probably better. It is going to slow me down. Alright, Tundra tapped and pass. Oh, I'm probably supposed to Brainstorm on my turn, because now I can't Brainstorm into Force. And I think Force actually completely stabilizes this board. Bummer. Yeah, I was supposed to Brainstorm on my turn. Chalice on 1. Yikes. Well, at least we dodged the Fable. Swords to Plowshare is not helpful. Murktide Regent might get there someday. Okay, I'll just put the card that I'm not really able to cast on top of the deck. I guess I'm just drawing all these anyway. It doesn't even matter. There is a basic island, and the fetch land does feed Murktide, so I think I actually do want to get that in. I'm going to end up redrawing the plow anyway. Okay, now Archon has to kind of chill. The Fable gets to do stuff. There's that one. And I don't know my top card, so I'll just draw it. Sam, okay. Sam can pick up this fetch land and replay it. Do I even care about that? Do I just want to start ransoming? Do I have a removal for a Chalice? I don't. Oh, I have 3 prismatic endings, so there are things worth digging for here. Being the flash deck, actually kind of cool right now. Or at least it would be. Okay, I'm going to go for Sauron's Ransom in the end step. Why am I end stepping it? Once again, leaving myself open to Force of Will. God, only 1 spell in a turn. This is for the birds. Someday I'll figure this out. Yeah, once again, that probably should have been in the main phase, though I guess this does give me the option of block with Baleful Strix, Sam pick it up, which I will take if they just fire in here. Yeah, like if they want to offer the Goblin and try to clear the launchpad for Archon. Yeah, this actually works out fine. I'll trade with that. This also lets me fetch another non-basic. They did just discard a Seasoned Dungeoneer, though, which is terrifying, because we know they have 4 mana. Oh, there's this jerk. Okay, and there is no path to Force of Will here, because of Archon. Right, now we're in trouble. Gonna play Sam. Pick up the Baleful Strix. Fetch Underground Sea tapped. Orcish Bowmasters, are you good? Probably not, but it's not the worst card I've ever seen. Alright, I'll pass. I do have a Death Touch creature in front of this Caves jerk. Oh, fuck. If I had attacked first, Bowmaster actually just gets me where I want to be. Like, I get the initiative. Alright, it's fine. It's fine. I have plans to get the initiative long term. Bummer. The whole draw card first and then make your decisions. Just not even how Magic works with Archon in play. Feel myself just spiraling out here. I'm going to take a deep breath and come back refreshed. Reflection of Kiki Jiki's in play now. Caves of Chaos Adventurer gets to flip something. It flipped another Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Well, that's a good card. And I think I want to keep my flyer. They need a red source to even play this thing that's in exile. I could block with Sam and ping it the rest of the way. Yeah, I'd rather have the flyer. Take 4 trample. Hope they don't have a mountain. Spirit Guide, that works too. Okay. The stash makes a treasure. In the end step, I'm going to finish off this Caves of Chaos Adventurer. Prismatic Ending. Are we free? This turn starts with a Baleful Strix attack. That's for sure. I would at least like the initiative if I have nothing else. If they trade off Archon for this, I'm free. Entirely. Okay. I do have a basic to tutor for. Play this Plains, Prismatic Ending, the Chalice. Okay. Swords to Plowshares is available next turn. I have to hope they get greedy and just like tap Reflection pre-combat, which they are motivated to do, because that gives them extra flips on Caves of Chaos Adventurer. I basically just need them to walk into this plow, which it appears they're not willing to do. Bummer. Alright, well, the Caves trigger is going to happen. Flipping Solitude, okay. If I plow Archon, that opens up Sauron's Ransom and I can do other stuff. Kinda. Alright. Plowing the Archon. They could copy it, but that's a pretty low value copy. They're very smart to just wait on this reflection, recognize that they're beating the board anyway. Yeah, they're making the copy. Okay. Fine, I don't get 2 spells this turn. Okay, this 5/3 chump blocking doesn't do anything except make it harder for me to attack the initiative back. You get a spooky skeleton here. There's still a Solitude and Exile they can cast. Or we can go straight into the Throne of the Dead 3 with the next initiative creature. The hits just don't stop here. Remember when I Thoughtseize them, and then they've still just cast an Unbeatable spell every turn of the game. Okay. Throne of the Dead 3 hit another Seasoned Dungeoneer. Alright, well, we can never win. Okay, I'm good. You figured it out. Okay, tough crowd. Just a little off balance. That Archon was really good. I think Force of Negation is important here. Containment Priest stops Throne of the Dead 3, but basically nothing else. Blue Blast, yes please. Brazen Borrower, yes please. Fling to Dust, completely irrelevant. Strix was actually pretty solid. Murktide was the closest thing to a plan that I had. Snapcaster is a flash creature. Is Ransom too slow? Bowmasters being 2 creatures, this deck doesn't draw cards. Yeah, maybe Bowmasters is just kind of bad here. It's 2 creatures to contend the initiative, but against a deck that is drawing no extra cards. No thanks. I think I'm going to lose one Sauron's Ransom. So, being alive and then catching up with 2-for-1s is probably my game plan. Alright, I'm down to 1 Bowmaster. It's done. Keep this hand that contains Force of Will. 1 Force of Will would have won me last game, easily. Okay, Ponder, we know the matchup. We know what we're looking for. Thoughtseize, Tundra. And I'll take the Thoughtseize on the Tundra. I would love to be able to Wasteland and Thoughtseize them next turn. As long as they don't Cavern plus Unbeatable 4-drop all at once. That line exists. Battle. Step 1. Battle. Step 2. That's not a Cavern. Good news, everybody. Chrome Mox. Oh dear. Exiling Touch. Archon. I'm gonna force this. It all matters. Like, everything matters here. If they follow us up with a Chalice, I'm gonna be bummed out, but probably start with that, because you can't double spell if you wait. Okay, show me your thoughts. You have 2 of them left. I'll take the Dungeoneer. There's City of Traders in their hand. Wasteland, the Ancient Tomb. Okay. I mean, they're ready if they draw any banger, but I'm just going to hope that they don't for a little bit. There's the city. Drawing a fetch land. I can fetch, Sam, pick up, fetch, or I could Prismatic Ending this Chrome Mox. I think I'm actually pretty interested in that. I want them to be all in if they draw a card that matters. Just not a single other choice to make, ever. Floated a white. Yeah, just all in for Solitude, 3/2, lifelink on this board. Probably not worth doing. And the bad news is, if they just like shove a Caves of Chaos Adventure right now, I'm still in trouble. And of course, there's Seasoned Dungeoneer right away. Come on, Swords to Plowshares. We've done what I can to control this. If they play that Plains, they lose their other land. Swords to Plowshares. Brainstorm. Could be a Swords to Plowshares. Could be anything. Even a Swords to Plowshares. Hey. Okay. So I want to put back definitely a land, and I guess it has to be Sauron's Ransom here. The first trigger explores. Okay. Because I have to take the initiative too. I can't just kill this thing. I think my plan is going to be Sam, pick up my land, untap, plow, attack. They get an Explorer along the way. Going into the Lost Well to scry 2. They bottom both on the scry. Here's the attack. The Explorer reveals Simian Spirit Guide. And they decide they want that card. That's scary. Going for the Plains here. They're touching the Spirit Realm on their Seasoned Dungeoneer. That'll get them into the stash in the end step. Okay. Doesn't change my life at all. Okay, so this is back. You get 1 room deeper into the dungeon. Get a treasure token. I think white's more important than black. Grab Tundra, and then Sam, pick up Blue to Delta. And they did play around a flash creature. That is a sweet line. They can't block my Ring Bearer, though. I can just attack first, take the initiative. Can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. Sick. And they cannot have a Solitude white card in their hand because they only have one card in their hand. And I don't think they would have kept Simian Spirit Guide on top if they didn't have a spell worth casting. Okay. I'm the initiative now. Look at me. And Polluted Delta does get the Mystic Sanctuary if I want it. I'm going to take out this treasure too. I just want you to have nothing. Yeah, I think if I just put Force of Will in my hand here, we win. Okay, cool. They're done. Wait. Okay. Now we got to get one on the draw. Lavinia stops their fast mana, but not until their turn 3. Probably not helpful. And the can't cast spells clause is only non-creatures. So, like, that doesn't even stop the cards I actually really care about here. I think this is the sideboard that I have, and it's what I get to do. And it's all I get to do. Oof. Handful of 1-drops. This hand is very bad against Archon of Emeria and very bad against Chalice of the Void. I think I have to mulligan this. Okay, force blue card and some Thoughtseizes. Keep bottom the Tundra. City of Traders. Okay, I like Cities of Traders. I like all-in plays when my hand is 4 disruptive spells. No to Peacekeeper. Nope. It's going to counter anything and then Thoughtseize them and hope their hand isn't 2 bangers and a mana source. Murky Reach. We have a phase 2 of the plan now. Oh, jeez. All right, well, I'll take the Seasoned Dungeoneer. They would need to draw a red source here. All right, just don't draw a red source for 1 turn. 1 turn. Let me Thoughtseize this thing. Ooh, no plays. No plays passing the turn. So you're saying there's a chance. Swords to Plowshares, 2. I like that one. Okay, let's take a look. Probably taking Caves of Chaos Adventure for sure. All right, Swords to Plowshares. City of Traders is your hand right now. I hate that Swords to Plowshares, but you've got a game to play. Ooh, they drew something. What's going on here? Chalice on 2? What do we play with this mana? Oh no, if it's Seasoned Dungeoneer, what the hell? Come on. Can I get 1 second to breathe in my life? I mean, I'm killing this thing. And I'm doing it right now before it does anything else. Dang, that Swords to Plowshares, such a beating. This would be totally fine if Swords to Plowshares was not their 1 card in hand. Alright, deck, come on. Some creature that I don't care about getting plowed. I guess I play the Murktide. No, my deck has Thoughtseizes in it. I'll just wait. Just shoving it into their known answer, just unplayable. A Prismatic Ending takes them off white. A Thoughtseize clears the plow. I've got options here. They are sliding through the dungeon, though. Top, bottom, great. Dead. Them keeping any card here is just the nightmare for me. Great. Yep, even worse. Even worse. I do have some outs to this, but boy, are they not good. Oh, Snapcaster Mage. You would have been literally my perfect card last turn. I'm about ready to quit. I guess I have to give myself a chance to draw my basic island. But as soon as I get into Catacombs, it doesn't matter, which is next turn. Alright, yeah, we're dead. Okay. Yeah, being on the draw against this deck, we're not super well set up with a ton of basics. I actually want to talk about that. The deck Justin sent me did have more basics, but it has been my experience in Legacy in general, and especially in recent lists, and especially when people send me brews, they're thinking really hard about Wasteland and Blood Moon, and not thinking about the normal case of games where you need to cast your spells. This is a deck that's trying to like ponder into Baleful Strix and have the option to Prismatic Ending or something like that. And especially if we want to turn on Mystic Sanctuary, which is really cool with Sauron's Ransom, you just get so much by being able to cast your spells. and we have a high land count. We're at 20 lands with Brainstorm Ponder and Sam, who can pick them up. I think this deck would be worse if you are constricted by your own lands. Like, you fetch basic plains to plow something, and then it takes you 3 turns to cast Baleful Strix from there, because plains doesn't help you do that. I think this deck is better with non-basics, though obviously getting clowned by Blood Moon in round 1 is a thing that occurred. On to the next round. This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there. I'm on the draw with a 4 of a kind with a Brainstorm kicker. I mean, Island Ponder keep, but also this is on the draw in the current Legacy League metagame. I'm a little worried about this hand. Verdant Catacombs on a Multa 6. Okay. Noble Hierarch. Hope I draw a land here. Thoughtseize. This is almost certainly a Wasteland deck. There's very few decks that do this, and don't play Wasteland too. I think I want to take out the Hierarch, though, and just hope they don't Wasteland me. And then next turn, I have Ponder into Thoughtseize. I get 5 looks at a black source. Okay, not a Wasteland. Alley is just as bad, though. Don't do that. Orcish Bowmasters, oh no. And just main phasing it like a boss. Alright, well, my hand is now awful. Did my hand get better here? I'm gonna have to ponder into this thing. Take my medicine. 2 forces, Mystic Sanctuary. No, thank you. I needed the force last turn. Swords of Plowshares. We're free. I might as well plow now. Like, I don't want to just take damage from this thing. I'll take it. I'll hit it right now. Okay, don't do that again. Taking our Orc Army hit. Fiend Artisan. Alrighty. My own. If I find a black source now, I can kill this Fiend Artisan free and clear. Nice. Sucks I have to shuffle away Sauron's Ransom, because I think this card is probably great in this matchup in general, and right now. But I'm going for this. Pew pew, take out your engine. Okay. Honorable combat between orcs. I think the trade of them dealing 2 extra damage to me versus me killing your Fiend Artisan, I think I did better on that exchange. Now let's hope their hand is full of 3 drops. I am going to block this Orc Army, though. Just with 1. Thoughtseize is in my deck and in my hand. Want to protect my life total at least a little bit here. Zenith for 1. Okay. I suspect their hand is full of 3 drops right now, if they're doing this. Wasteland, cool. I'm going to ponder first, because if I find an answer to Noble Hierarch, if I find specifically Orcish Bowmaster, I want to be able to pick off Hierarch and waste them. Okay, Thoughtseize plus Force of Will. Those 2 cards together would make it unlikely that I lose in short order here. Okay, I'm going to put the Force of Will in my hand. I'm going to see what they're up to with the Thoughtseize. Oof, Excavator, Plow. Okay. Among these cards, I'm most worried about Ramunap Excavator. Yeah, I'm going to take that. And then I'm going to cast this other Ponder and likely shuffle, because I know there's at least 2 lands on top. All right, yeah, any order, get rid of them. Okay. And Wasteland Hierarch makes green and black, and both lands make white. I think they're a base green deck, though. So I have a lot of white removal. I could take them off black entirely. Okay, I am going to go after the splash color here. We got an angry sad face in the chat. That's what I wanted. Probably should have attacked there. I'm not going to block. They're 3/3. Ooh, drew the land. Okay, I mean, that's fine. I don't care about Collector Roof, and Swords to Plowshares is medium fine. I'll take beats from this probably one more time. And I'm really looking for Murktide Region right now to end the game in a couple hits. Here's the oof. All right, Murktide, let's go. Swords to Plowshares. Don't hate that. Let's start with a Brainstorm. Hello, Murktide Regent. So I could even land Thoughtseize Murktide. That taps me out of Force. But if I Thoughtseize, they plow my Bowmaster. Do I want to just float Force next turn? I go to 7 off Thoughtseize, back up to 8 from Bowmaster. Okay. Yeah, alright. This is turn 5. I do still have a land drop. Hide this backup Force. Thoughtseize you. They will certainly cast their spell while they can. I'm doing it this way because Force answers top decks and Thoughtseize doesn't. We need to fade 1 draw step. That would remove Murktide. Okay, I go to 10. I look at your hand that has no cards in it. And then I go to 8. And then I play the biggest creature you've ever seen. Just mildly respecting Mystic Sanctuary with what I left in the graveyard. Okay. Fade 1, draw. Fade 1, draw. Draw a land. Don't kill Murktide. Oh no, mana's being tapped. Knight of the Reliquary. That's a really big one. They couldn't just draw a land or prismatic ending or something bad. Wasteland. They are pushing damage. I'll eat the Orc Army. Yeah, I just can't even attack now. Now I lose. Just Swords of Plowshares is on top of my deck, which might help next turn. Okay, I gotta... Okay. Knowing that Plow's on top, I need them to make a bad decision with Knight. Oh, you got an angry smiley face in the chat now. Opponent has much to say. I like it. They're doing the float and tutor thing. Hope there's not a Maze of Ith in this deck. This looks like Maverick, not like green-white depths. Be a little surprised if there's a depths combo in here. Cradle, that's a good one. Whatever this is probably getting forced. Renegade Rallier, that gets your planes back. Does this change things? If I force this, I crack for 8. Plow. Yeah, this sucks. Like, this card's not even good. Okay. You controlled left the battlefield. This turn, return target permanent card benefit. Oh, wait, no. I was thinking of the Sam in my deck. This gets back any 2-drop. Oh, this is insane. Yeah, this gets Fiend Artisan. No. We're not doing that. Okay, so I force this. I draw Plow. I hit Knight. And then I'll do the math and see if I'm winning that race. No, I'm not. Not with Noble Hierarch involved. I plow the Knight, and now I hope I draw a thing before they draw a thing. We're both top decking. Yeah, I'm dead in 2. They're dead in 4. Wow. Okay. Okay. Blue deck versus non-blue deck in a top deck war. Just draw some lands or some terrible green cards. Scavenging Ooze. That's a good green card. You're not even listening to me. Anything they eat out of my graveyard does make Murktide bigger. But, okay, how many creatures are there? There's 1, 2, 3. This can be 5/5. And they gain some life. Okay. Wasn't even that bad. If I draw the second Murktide right now, we just go to town. Sauron's Ransom would be pretty cool too. Take a Ponder. Oh, Sauron's Ransom. Right now, face up. Let's go. Blue, black, colorless, bang. And Murktide Regent becomes my ring bearer. If they happen to come up with a 9/9, they can't block it. That's cool. I wonder if my opponent knows how this works. All right, they said you're gonna love this in the chat. I wonder what that means. Is it just 4 of the same card? I do like that MTGO shows the piles moving around as they think about it. Okay. 3 lands versus another card. I think I just take 3 cards here. Oh, Sauron's Ransom to the graveyard. Tough beats. I don't know, taking 3 cards just feels so good. And if they tap out of this Ooze in the end step, I'm gonna Mystic Sanctuary this back. They seem to be eating creatures. There's 1, 2. Please go for the last one. Don't leave that man up. Yes. Okay. Fetching, getting Mystic Sanctuary, grabbing Sauron's Ransom. I do think this is better than Swords to Plowshares. Okay, ding. All right, Murktide's bigger. Okay, I'm at 4. They can attack me for 6. I can block that. If they attack with both creatures, I eat their biggest one, they go to 2. They're drawing random. Swords to Plowshares at least gives me a bunch of life. Outland Liberator. Okay, another 2/2. I am dead on board next turn. The Ransom's going to have to deliver. Murktide Regent does gain the ability to loot this turn. If Ransom somehow doesn't keep me alive, I can attack and loot again. I'm going to have to start attacking eventually, but I need stability first. A Bowmaster to just block 2 creatures would be great. Like, kill Ignoble Hierarch, jump. I would take that. Baleful Strix, excellent here. Turned off from Collector Roof, but not really a thing. Oh, okay. They are committing to the make you dead to any creature race. I'm going to block this ooze so fast. I mean, obviously, because it kills me, but I'm glad for it to be gone. Block. I go to 2. Can't Thoughtseize anymore. You got me. Sauron's Ransom. Let's dig out of this. Give me spells. Bang. 4 fresh ones. New Ring Bearer. Brainstorm versus all the other cards. Do all these other cards somehow not stabilize? 3 cards. There's so many cards in my deck. I'm going to take the 3. Did they get me? Well, they got me good. GG. Well played. Bummer. All right, well. Take the guaranteed pile, I guess. Get wrecked me. All right. Brazen Borrowers in Plague Engineer is a creature with Death Touch, and sometimes it can hit important things. Containment Priest, good against this deck. Cling to Dust has some text, but it's not good enough. That's coming out. It is nice to know what they're doing with Thoughtseize, but there's a little too much of this for this matchup. I think I can get thinner on Force of Will too. I want some of them available, but I think playing to the board is reasonable. Okay, let's do it. I will keep this Ponder hand. Kind of just want to see 3 lands off this Ponder. I'll take 2 and a Murktide. Yep. Deal. I'm leaving the Murktide at the bottom of the Ponder because that's not just not going to be castable for quite some time. I would love for them to play a Hierarch off of a non-basic and then just get obliterated by Wasteland plus Prismatic Ending. Orcish Bowmaster. Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Hook this to my veins. Who's the Maverick deck now? Wasteland, yeah. Prismatic Ending, yeah. Alright, no permanents, go. I'm 1 more turn away from jamming this Murktide with Force backup. Zenith for 0. This is just mono green mana. Don't care about that. Okay, Ponder is worth using here. Another Murktide I don't really want. I'll take Brainstorm with the fetch land under it. Give myself some options here. Now I have different blue cards I can pitch to Force. Verdant Catacombs represents Bowmaster. Ignoble, sure. Do I want land number 3? I think so. Sounds good. I can fetch for Underground Sea and then just play this Murktide. Big O. And if I have to force, I'm pitching Brainstorm. Sauron's Ransom looks awesome here. I could also Brainstorm 1 more time for the road in response to their instant Bowmasters. Bayou, they're not even representing white mana here. I am going to send 1 more for the road. I think this is fun. I still have Force blue card if I miss on other blue cards and just, alright, cool. Many blue cards to choose from. And put this land on top with Prismatic Ending on top of it. White mana, achieved. That could have Snuff Out or Murder's Cut or whatever. Like, it's not like Murktide is safe if there's no white mana, but we've seen Plow. is the only point I'm trying to make. Zenith for 2. Kind of scared of what this might be, but also I'm more scared of the white mana they're holding up. Fiend Artisan. Okay. Mother. Okay. Alright, these are not my problems. I'm just going to try to win this game in 2 hits. Sauron's Ransom. Start there. Start with Ransom. I know there's at least 1 land among these 4 cards. Snapcaster, Delta, and other 2 cards. I want the Snapcaster in the Delta. And then I'm going to fetch Mystic Sanctuary right now, put Sauron's Ransom back on top. This gets me another damage. And attack. This might be some huge mistake. Maybe Fiend Artisan kills my Murktide somehow. I hope not, but here we go. They said in chat they drew the card they wanted to search for. Well, good. Now I can force it. Okay, we're taking some amount of damage here in combat. Looks like 2 is the amount. And Fiend Artisan is activating after all. And there are a bunch of dead creatures. Scavenging Ooze could gain life. If there's not a... Oh, Grist. Grist is probably what they wanted. Yeah, that one does just destroy me. I guess I was supposed to Prismatic Ending the Fiend Artisan last turn. I forgot about Grist. Stupid card. Yup. Now I can never win. I blew it. Yeah, I got tunnel visioned on that Sauron's Ransom line, and now don't know how I get through this Mother of Runes. A Plague Engineer's in my deck somewhere. Grist is not currently a creature. I don't have a Ring Bearer. Okay, Sauron's Ransom it is. Another one. And I have enjoyed this card. I have not enjoyed how poorly I'm playing against my opponent's specific interaction. That Prismatic Ending just had to happen. Well, Thoughtseize Tundra is awful here. Even if the face down pile is worse, I don't know how it could be. Wasteland, Fetchland. I can't waste them off black. I can waste them off white. Is wasting them even a real option right now? Barely, but it's happening. Waste you off white, I guess. Okay, next turn I can snap Ransom, and I'm at chapter 3 of the ring. I don't know if these are chapters. Temptation 3? What is this? What is the word for this? Okay, they immediately add a Savannah. In a level 3 Ring Bearer does beat protection, but it doesn't beat a wall of 1/1s. They could also just fiend up Ooze at this point because they know that I have Snapcaster in hand. They've seen it. I wonder what they wanted to search for if Grist was still in their deck. Like, why say that in the chat and then just tutor the perfect card? Weird. They're going big here. A lot of men in the pool. A big old Knight of the Reliquary. That makes sense. Stacking for 2. Another Wasteland. And I kind of want Murktide Regent here. I guess that still dies to Grist now. My window to do that's even over. And Snap Ransom just seems so not what I need to be doing right now. Yeah, and even if my Ring Bearer attacks and I loot, I lose it to Bowmaster. Okay, I'm gonna ponder. This is 3 removal spells. Okay. Don't shuffle my library. Okay, here's my new plan. Prismatic Ending, target Mother of Runes. And they're using Mother of Runes to target herself. In response, I'm going to plow Orcish Bowmasters. Then I'm going to Brainstorm and draw another plow. Plague Engineer, that's nutters. Wasteland's out. And I think the backup Force of Will's got to go. Oh no, I'm out of white sources. My Tundra's already dead. I blew it. Okay, my genius play just didn't work. Okay. Yeah, I needed to assess that Grist could come out of Fiend Artisan. I was all in on that Murktide plan and just blew it on the Fiend Artisan. GG's though. As much as I'd rather win, it is always a pleasure to be picked apart by Maverick. It is nice to know that deck is still out there doing its thing.
You come here to level up at Magic. To level up as a software engineer, check out the new YouTube series Dev Better, hosted by the founder of 7 Factor Software and Magic player, Jeremy Duvall. 7Factor's small teams of high-performing engineers build custom mobile apps, APIs, and highly scalable systems for Fortune 500 companies and ambitious startups with great ideas. If you'd like to hire 7Factor, or maybe join their team, contact them through their website at 7factor.io. And don't forget to subscribe to 7Factor's YouTube for every episode of Dev Better.
I'm on the draw for round 3 with one of these Esper hands. I'm going to keep and hope they have creatures in their deck. Ancient Tomb. Tilt. Oh, Defense Grid. Even worse. Thoughtseize, please. Yeah, dang, always had it. Okay. Thoughtseize versus Grid. Echo of Eons, Paradox, Engine. Well, putting Echo of Eons in the graveyard doesn't really do anything. I could cut them off blue forever or cut them off 5 forever. Yeah, they said in the chat, take the Echo. I think I'm going to take Grim Monolith here. Might have been ready to take the blue, but seeing the Paradox Engine and the Monolith, I see what the plan is here, and I'd like it to not occur. Okay, I Strix this turn, then I can Snap Thoughtseize next. Though Snap Thoughtseize is approaching the danger zone of it might have to take Echo. Ooh, Thoughtseize. Okay. Well, I guess I'll know if Paradox Engine is still on the hand. That's always safe. 3 cards in hand. I am going to Snap Thoughtseize. I think snapping the Thoughtseize is better because it makes the clock faster, and trying to make this opponent dead is my whole job. Paradox Engine is out. Chrome Mox, Echo in hand. If I can find Bowmasters, that becomes a thing that I know how to do. And it makes this Echo a lot worse. Come on! He just ripped Blindside Diamond. Playing out Chrome Mox. Apparently having an artifact in play in this deck is better than not having an artifact in play, even if it doesn't do anything. Okay, we're taking a spin. Nope, maybe not. They changed their mind. I don't know what their deck actually is, so it's hard for me to know how likely they are to win off of this Echo. Okay, here we go. Alright, Force of Will's in my hand. If I ever untap again, I can hold it up. Saga, tough beats. This is an awful draw 7 for me, by the way. Monolith. Another Opal. Okay, more spells are happening if they're still doing that. We're gonna Desire for 7? What do we got? Cool. Lorien revealed, Paradox. Okay, alright, I'm good. I'm gonna concede. I don't need to see this. I get it. Sometimes the deck, with no manipulation, just draws Blindside Diamond off the top. That's fine. It's fine. Whatever. Okay, as I have a ton of hate bears. That matchup should be awful in the main deck. That's what those decks are kind of built for. Just dumpster all over anyone who's trying to be fair about anything. Lavinia, Nullrod, Serenity, all pretty solid here. Swords to Plowshares can kick rocks. We did see Urza. I hope it doesn't come to that. And Cling to Dust is not without text, but it might not be good enough. Brazen Borrower can bounce random artifacts too. Bowmaster seems bonkers. Thoughtseize seems great. There we go. There's a whole other word in the middle of the sounds I was trying to make. Cling does make Thoughtseize better versus Echo, but that's a 1 card. It's 1 card in my deck that makes all the other cards. That makes specifically Thoughtseize better against 1 card. I don't know. That seems low impact. Speaking of low impact, Baleful Strix seems low impact. So does Sam. Baleful Strix is at least blue for these 6 forces that are in my deck. I think I just need to hit this deck with a hate card and then attack with Murktide Region a few times. That's my plan. Thoughtseize, Lavinia, no second land. I'm gonna take my chances. What are you up to over there? Cap 7. Echo and LED are here. I'm gonna take the LED. And there's a bunch of other junk. There is a Chain of Vapor for this Lavinia. Seagate. That card was not in your hand when I saw it a second ago. Bobble to see Brainstorm at random. Come on, White Source. Another Thoughtseize. I'm gonna Brainstorm, I think. Or Ponder. This is tough. Alright, I'm gonna Ponder. I actually do need another land. That's not what I meant. I could take Wasteland now. Their thing. No. I mean, Wasteland's good against that Urza Saga, but I can't actually keep that. Alright, now we're dead. Sometimes it doesn't work out. Grim Monolith, okay. Sweet. Okay, sometimes it does work out. Now we're behind this Urza Saga, though. I do have Serenity in my deck. Alright, I'm gonna Thoughtseize this Chain of Vapor. Another Saga in hand, cool. I could not beat the first one. This is Unsporting Conduct. Island. Okay, another land. So that means I can Brainstorm into Lavinia. I'm into that. Okay, Brainstorm. Found a Force of Will. I like that. This is a lot of Bowmasters. Do I want a lot of Bowmasters, or do I want one Murktide? Probably Murktide. It'll be bigger than their stuff very soon. Okay, Tundra, Lavinia. Tundra, Lavinia with Force backup. You can make a 3/3 that becomes a 4/4, then becomes a 5/5. And then I put an 8/8 in front of your 2 5/5s. If I draw a land, I have an 8/8 and 2 1/1s to soak up a bunch of damage. Hope there's not an Aether Spell Bomb in this deck. Of course. Alright, we are so destroyed. Unless I draw a Null Rod right now, but even that's too late, because then they bounce Lavinia and just kill me with what's on board. Land. Okay. Land is good. It's even Wasteland, which I don't know if that's specifically helpful. But I am going to take out the Urza Saga. I'm doing this way. I think using Bowmaster to buy another turn and have 2 annoying creatures in play is probably better. That's countered. Got him. Okay, Bowmaster. Jump in there. Deal 1 to your face. And I'll block one of these going to 4 life, keeping 2 creatures in play. Alright, come on, removal spell. That mostly counts. Alright. Blue-black, leaving up white. Strix, good stuff here. Another Bowmaster. Okay. If they bounce the Strix, then I have to block with my 2 good creatures. Yeah, I'm just slightly behind here. That Urza Saga is going to win the game for them. Oh, if we just go to combat, though, let me get to blocks. Sick. Okay. I'll take this. Yeah, they had a really good bounce Strix force block on both Hate Bears. They didn't take there. Oh, now I'm stable. Interesting. Okay. I'm gonna just pass here. And I think I'm gonna try to chump with Bowmasters for another turn cycle. This gives me 2 blockers where Brazen Borrower just loses to a Flusterstorm or something. I don't hate my spot here. I'm not going to lie. Oh, they failed to find an island. Cycled Lauren Reveal didn't hit. That's rough. Wow. Okay. Well, how about Murktide Regent? I'm going to make it just big enough to beat this construct in combat. If it has to. And I'm going to start attacking. It's time. I would like to win this game eventually. And I'm going to fetch a Tundra right now. Okay, so I have a big enough blocker to beat them. If they bounce my Murktide, then they're not bouncing Lavinia. Cool. Alright, end step. Petty Theft the construct. Flusterstorm confirmed. Okay, that's fine. Okay, Big Murk's still holding the fort. Snapcaster can Ponder here, which also grows Murktide. I could also just Ransom and make Lavinia my bearer. I think Ponder's better. Yeah, I'm going to Ponder off of Underground Sea because my white removal, I still have Prismatic Endings and stuff. Murktide grows. Null Rod, Force of Will. Okay. Well, Force of Negation, under Null Rod, under Force of Will. With this Force in my hand. Okay, all I have to do is not be dead for 1 more turn, and then we're good. So I'm not going to make any attacks here. They can't cast this Echo, even if they find LED. LED gets countered if they cast it, just not even really game to play here. They would have to use their Spell Bomb to clear Lavinia, then Echo LED, then I force the Echo because they're Hellbent. Cool. Here comes the Rod. Spare the Rod, spoil the Storm player. Bouncing Murktide in response, who can arrive immediately again. It's just a 4/4. That's okay. Construct's down to 3/3. This is a lot of BS for them to beat. They have to go off through Bowmaster and Lavinia. Or, yeah, they'd have to clear Null Rod and Lavinia, then go off through Bowmaster. Okay. Got away with that one. Felt like I was behind for a big part of the game. That turn where they didn't bounce Baleful Strix and didn't force jump blocks with my Lavinia and Bowmaster, that's where that game hinged. They had it. They just didn't take it. All right, same deck. Right back in. Lavinia in Wasteland solid. I am going to keep this. It might just get dumpstered, but it is also doing pretty cool stuff. Oh, Leyline of the Void. Fascinating. LED. Oh, are we just getting echoed? Sure are. Okay, fine. Force blue card and Thoughtseize in the grip now. LED. Echo again. Please. I beg you. What are the chances I drew a force? I didn't even get to mulligan this one. Seagate tapped. Nice. You don't play Seagate tapped if you plan on continuing doing stuff this turn. Wobbling my hand, sees Force of Will at random. Bummer. Sees Island at random. Okay. They're going to have some info about my hand. And I'm going to Thoughtseize theirs. Sees you. Grape Shot, Chrome Mox, Chain of Vapor. This is a weird collection of cards. I guess they take Grape Shot, but they don't have any sort of indication of access to red. In the Pirate Spellbomb and Grape Shot are both answers to Hate Bears, but they also both require red mana that my opponent does not have. I guess if you want to discard your hand, you can activate Pirate Spellbomb. I'm probably okay in that world. Somehow think this is Spellbomb. Oh yeah, Chrome Mox can pitch Grape Shot to activate Spellbomb, but not vice versa. This hand just kind of sucks. I wish this was easier. I'm going to take Spellbomb. That cycles if it doesn't do anything else, and Grape Shot just sort of rots if it doesn't do anything else. They get their pair of Bauble draws. I have another Thoughtseize for next turn. You've seen my Force of Will now. That sucks. LED. Alright, those are 2 of the 3 cards I don't know about. Another Force. Cool. I'm going to Thoughtseize you. There's 1 card over there I don't know. Transmute Artifact. That's spooky. Wild. Okay. I think I take the Chain of Vapor this time. With a handful of Force of Wills, I cannot be worried about Chain of Vapor. Or about whatever this is. Transmute Artifact. I'm going to cast Ponder. I have forces here. Lavinia and more forces. Well, I did all this work clearing the way for Lavinia. Let's get that happening. Here's the island. The One Ring. Okay, well, that card I'm not going to beat either. I don't like putting my shields down on the transmute, but what we got. Okay, Lavinia in my hand is a blue card. Next turn I'm drawing Force of Negation. I could Wasteland their second blue source and then just try to lock out the transmute. I don't really like putting my shields completely down here. I'm going for the blue. They think I don't have Force of Will now. I hope I just effectively slowed them down. Okay, I know their whole hand, and it does not cast the thing. They saw Flooded Strand at random. That's fine, they were going to see that anyway. And it's going to be really hard for them to get red mana to cast the Grape Shot to kill the Lavinia, with Lavinia already in play. Okay, let's start doing it. They're on a 9-turn clock. They have 2 lands. Urza Saga. Jeez. Alright, well, good start. Serenity. Brainstorm. An attack with Lavinia. That one's free. And I will fire this Brainstorm. Got there. I'm going to hide Bowmasters on top, keep Force up, and Wasteland the Saga. Okay. That was a great Brainstorm. I probably actually should have put Force of Negation on top of the deck and put Brainstorm in my hand, because I'd rather pitch Brainstorm here and then I can draw and cast Force of Negation in the future. Alright, now I can hardcast Force or pitch cast Force and play Bowmaster. Grim Monolith is fine. Doesn't change anything. Still can't cast the spells you can't cast. Dang you. Brainstorm. Okay, now I have 2 forces up, a quick clock, and 2 hate bears. I'm going in. If their deck does play a volcanic island, they could like get access to some non-artifact red source, cast Chrome Mox, pitch nothing, or it gets countered. Transmute artifact, I fight over it, Grape Shot clears my board. That does exist. Okay, they floated 3 mana and then conceded. Nice. Hate Bear's too strong against these sort of decks. On to the next round. The Command Tower software by Eminence Gaming is perfect for hosting TCG events. It features easy-to-create event registration for 1v1 and 4-player Swiss structured tournaments. Event management has never been so simple, and it's web-based, so there's no download required. Get access for just $5 at eminence.event/subscribe. I'm on the draw in round 4. I have Thoughtseize start. I'm in. Keep. Opponent's on 6. A forest. Exploration. Uh-oh. Thespian stage. Well, got bad news, everybody. We might be dead. I'm gonna Thoughtseize them and hope that I don't see Life from the Loam Wasteland. I think taking my 1 chance here to hit a crop rotation or actual spell. Dude, you're punishing fire. Who's in charge now? That was awful. But if that was crop rotation or another exploration or something, that's worth going after. But not only is lands a bad matchup, but they have the type of hand that specifically is really good against me. I will be eliminating this exploration this turn. End the exploration. And I mean, they don't have a loam, they don't have a draw engine. They're just kind of farting around here. Alright, fine. Like I just said, they're farting around here. And if they fart around too long, they start losing. Brainstorm. Yeah, let's get some different cards in my hand. Brainstorm. I'm in the market for a Murktide region here. Force of Will. I don't need 2 of those. And I do kind of want the additional land, but I'm also about to guess Ponder. Alright, I'm going to put the land back. Underground Sea Ponder. 2 more lands and another Ponder. I will take the lands just to make sure I can put a creature into play and then pay for Tabernacle. I can force a crop rotation. The card I'm really worried about is Loam. Crop rotation is actually a huge blowout here if they cast it. Okay, I'm just going to pass because I have a pretty cool Brainstorm, Fetch. Sam picks up my Fetch land line here. Just copying Basic Forest. You got it. It does play around Wasteland, which is a card that I have. Soul Guide Lantern. Yuck. Alright, well, I'll Brainstorm in response because it's kind of now or never. There's Murktide. I do like that. I'm going to put back Strix and the other land because I'm about to pick up a land with Sam. Sam, Fetch. And I have to hope they don't just bust this Lantern immediately out of respect for Murktide. I hope they use it to draw a card. But also just force it, honestly. And they have to just shove it, though. Like, they have to just put it into play and then immediately activate it. Which maybe is very obviously the play, though. Also, drawing cards in this spot where you're not doing anything seems relevant. Oh, Maze of Ith. Sure. And they have access to 3 of them. Okay, well. Now I can't win. Genuinely don't think I can even win this game. Okay, Murktide Regent. Gonna at least do that before the Soul Guide Lantern does anything. If I ponder right now into Wasteland, I have a chance. These are not Wasteland. Cling to Dust is interesting, but not actually useful. I have to take the shuffle for a Wasteland. Shit, okay. Well, we're in trouble. If they copy... Alright, they're just drawing cards. If they ever copy Maze of Ith, I am in a lot of trouble. There's Grove. There's Wasteland. Okay. They are Hellbent. Grove will eventually kill me. Slowly but surely. I will be paying for Murktide for as long as I'm able to. Swords to Plowshares. All right, Brainstorm, get rid of those, please. Thoughtseize sucks. Plow sucks. Or Plow doesn't suck. That's not fair, but Plow is not actually... I don't need two of them. I think that is true and fair. I'm not going to waste time by attacking. I believe they know what their cards do. And copying Grove. Okay. A lot of fire. Urza Saga. All right. Once again, the Hellbent opponent with no deck manipulation of any kind is drawing better than the Ponder Brainstorm deck that has resolved many of that effect in this game. Good stuff. Magic the Gathering as Garfield intended. All right, give me a Wasteland as Garfield intended. Ugh. Sucks so bad. And none of this stuff is even good. All right. I guess the Saga tokens will arrive as 1/1s, but if they just turn this forest into another Saga, they can never lose. Guess I'll give them a chance to mess up. They do have to pay for their own stuff with Tabernacle too. I don't know. We'll see where this goes. I need a Wasteland 3 turns ago, though. I'm not going to play this Bowmaster, not going to play the Snapcaster. That neither does anything. And the Snapcaster would be good if they didn't also have Tabernacle. Second Murktide. That's almost good. Bowmaster does kill this creature right now because they only have one artifact. I'll do it. This is going to tutor for Expedition Map and get Dark Depths, though. Or yeah, I couldn't make them pay for Tabernacle first. Or yeah, no, I can't because then the Saga would be untapped. Making a Construct. Shadow Spear, cool. That's not Expedition Map though. That's good news. I mean, they can turn this Saga into basic forest now, and then I can never do anything. I'll just lose eventually. I'm gonna pay for Murktide, but not for the Bowmasters or the token. Wasteland's still a good draw. Force of Will still a bad draw. Okay, I'm gonna re-Murktide here. This one's not as big as the first, but it does make the first bigger. Now I can attack around Maze of Ith, but if they have these big lifelink creatures, doesn't matter. Saga token created. Would you like to pay the 1? They keep tapping this Thespian Stage for mana. I like that. Every time they tap a Thespian Stage gives me a window to draw a Wasteland for Maze of Ith. All right, they now have a Maze of Ith that can make constructs, and they get to tutor. There's the Expedition Map. Okay, how about a Wasteland? Wasteland off the top. Oh, these Thoughtseizes. They sounded like a good idea at the time, but now they don't. Okay, I'm gonna attack. They're gonna send back the big one anyway. So let's just do that. And oh, I can end the map. Does that actually help? End map versus end Shadow Spear. I do have Plow for Merrill Age, but gaining them 20 here does not seem like a long-term plan. Alright, yeah, Plow the map. They can make their construct 5/5 on the board. 9/9 is still bigger than that. By my count. Someone check my math. Okay, Wasteland's still the best draw. Wasteland. Oh, we did it. Okay. I'm going to attack first because I want them to commit this Saga Maze to a combat action. Nice. Okay. Now I get to take out their Maze of Ith and their Urza Saga with one thing. And we're somehow still playing this game that I think we should have lost a long time ago. Wasteland your Urza's Ith Maze. That's gone. They had their other Thespian Stage up, but it would have just been a Maze of Ith there. And that's the same as just doing this now. Okay. Okay. I have more Wastelands in my deck. They're still farting around. They don't have Urza Saga anymore. I'm slightly ahead on clock, like by seconds, but we count them. Oh, come on. I just stabilized against this shit. Their second exploration is fine. They have Loam, I lose anyway. Fear of Resistance. I actually do have to counter that. That's not really a beatable card. Not when I'm under Tabernacle and barely functioning anyway. Caracas. That is a land. I'll put it into play. And now I am attacking. They have a Mazabit that's also a Thespian stage. That's kind of a reason to do stuff. Also, the clock, now that this game is running down, like, make them Mazabith. Sounds reasonable. And they can't Merit Lage now without... We're removing the Caracas first. Okay, they're passing here. I'm going to pay with Caracas. Hold up. No, pay with Tundra and other Tundra. I'm going to pay with the Tundras. Caracas gives me white and protection from Merit Lage. Alright, land's coming through now. Make my attacks. If Mazabith is tied up doing this, it can't copy Urza Saga. Not just wasting clock here, there is a real plan. I don't know, lands experts, let me know, but I think I would have taken 5 there to make sure I have a second Urza Saga. Get that engine back on. Like 15 is so much. So I guess you have to take 5 this turn and take 5 next turn to copy it back into Mazabith. It wouldn't learn how to make the constructs right away either. Oh, okay. So maybe you're actually just dead. Maybe this is a 3 turn and you would die. All right. Never mind. Comment rescinded. They also punishing fired me rather than make constructs, but continue to pay for the constructs they already have that are not attacking or blocking. Okay, Saga trigger on the stack. Now if you want another one of these, you gotta copy it. Crop rotation. Well, they got the force out of me last turn. If I had 5 lands at the time, I wouldn't have forced that sphere. Maybe I'm not supposed to force it anyway. I feel like if I force this crop rotation, I'm actually reasonably still playing the game, but now I'm not. Got Blast Zone. They're going to crank that up to 7? Is that the plan? Okay, they named Caracas with Hithing Needle. Oh yeah, they're going. Tick-tock. Okay, well, now I can tap Caracas for mana. Still in the market for a Wasteland. Murktide number 3. I'll take that. This is a 3rd beater to their 2 Mazes of Ith. This one the smallest of them all, but it's here. Keep that Thespian stage busy with an attack. Okay, they're finally not paying for their constructs. They realize this is not what the game's about. Those have not attacked or blocked at any point, and they cost a lot of mana. Okay, so 2, 3, 4... I think they're 2 turns away from activating their Blast Zone for 7. And if I find a Wasteland along the way, we're good. They went Hellbent to play Mox Diamond. Come on, deck. Wasteland. Sauron's Ransom. Interesting. Not helpful right now. It is a blue card for Force, though. But I am pushing damage. Alrighty. Here it comes. Yeah, they can get Blast Zone up to 4 this turn, then they go to 5, then they get it up to 6 on the next turn, and then they take 5. They are currently dead. They're dead on the current trajectory. And they're in top deck mode with no engines running. Yavimaya does that make this a little faster? That turns on Tabernacle. I think they just got over the hump. Yeah, I need a Wasteland this turn. Ponder could still be Wasteland. Come on, Wasteland, Ponder, give it to me. Gotta shuffle this. Only Wasteland will do. Swords to Plowshares, son of a biscuit. Here come my creatures. Okay, so 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that Yavimaya unlocked it. Bummer. They're gonna stabilize by 1 turn. And we're sitting around for a long time here, though. They haven't actually presented a win condition, unless we count Punishing Fire. I could also still get my rings up. Okay, so they're blasting. I'm going to gain 11. Just get out of Merit Lage range. And Blast Zoning now means I don't have to pay for Tabernacle on my turn. I like that. And I could still get my ring up to 4, and then any attack is good for 3. Okay, black, blue, colorless. And Sam is a playable ring bearer who also advances my strat here. Force of Will, other pile. I'm going to take the other pile. Another ransom. Okay. Got a land here. It does not do what I need it to. Sitting on 1 black stuff. And Sam is going to have to get around this Punishing Fire. It won't be easy. And Mazabeth now copying Grove. Punishing Fire in my face. I'm at 22. Played another Grove. Got 3 of those now. But I do have a fully gassed up ring if I can navigate a creature around the P-Fire. I love that Sauron's Ransom makes my opponent make decisions too. Slurp up that clock. Making difficult piles. I want the pile with Wasteland in it, I think. Okay. Play Wasteland. And pass. Right, fire from hand. So their hand is 2 fires. And they're going to rebuy them. And I'm going to Wasteland their Thespian stage. And I'm going to Sam up the Wasteland. I can do all this now. It's fine. Yep, Sam gets fired. I'm F6'd, enjoying the ride here. This has been an awesome game. Definitely behind, but I have a fully maxed out ring. I don't know how I get control of the Punishing Fire in my main deck. I guess the answer is waste all their groves. Weird answer though. Oh, Brainstorm. Please give me some good cards. Baleful Strix, 2 Wastelands. Get rid of these Thoughtseizes. Yup. I do need to shuffle. Shuffle. Mystic Sanctuary is the only one left. Guess I'm out of black sources, huh? I'll grab this Sauron's Ransom one last time. And I am going to try to draw it with a Strix. And I'm going to Prismatic Ending Pithing Needle. Now Caracas is back on. That can bounce Sam's, and Merit Lage is not a win con. Fired my Strix. It's fine. Fired me. Rebuy the fires. Sphere of Resistance is fine. Not that I can do anything about it, but it's also fine. Okay, Wasteland one of your groves. And Snapcaster can do stuff. I have to become the ring bearer after I have a creature. I don't think a creature arriving just suddenly picks up the ring. Fired my face. Fired my face again. They have Dark Depths now, but I still have this Caracas. End a turn. I'm not gonna do anything yet. I'm gonna Wasteland their last Grove. Wasteland your Grove. Let's turn fires off. Gonna get those back one last time. And now Thoughtseize is on again. I can just take those. Okay, Thoughtseize. Oh, this is my instep. Nope, click through it. Can't do that. I am close to decking. They might be playing to that. Uh-oh. If they drew Loam, I'm so screwed. Sphere of Resistance number 2. If I respond to this with Snapcaster, I can force a Punishing Fire, and then they can't play another one. Snapcaster. Target Brainstorm, I suppose. Brainstorm. And Orcish Bowmasters is damage. This Flooded Strand doesn't do anything. This Thoughtseize does very little, but it's actually pretty good. No, I lied. It doesn't do very little. It does everything. There's a Punishing Fire. Force of Will it. Pay 1 pitch Baleful Strix because I need the ransom. Okay, something resembling a plan is in front of us right now. I can spend 3 on a Thoughtseize, which will take your other fire, which you can't currently get back. I'm gonna attack, make you Mazabeth. Been playing to the clock this far. Why stop now? And then Sauron's Ransom will make me a ring bearer next turn. And then you're dead in 2 hits. Fingers crossed. This has been a slog. Oh no. No loam. No loam. No loam. No! I worked so hard. What did they get? Saga Wasteland Grove. Okay. Let's see if they waste me. They wasted my Caracas, not my Underground Sea. Snapcaster, I gotta pay 1. Yes. Draw. I'm out of Wastelands. I have no way to recur those anymore. Pay 5 for a Sauron's Ransom. Do they have a Thespian stage? Oh, this Maze of Ith is a Thespian stage. I'm gonna choose the face down pile. Play this land they saw. Oh, I get a loot. Well, all my spells cost 1 million. That doesn't matter. Okay, they Maze of Ith. I draw a card, discard a card. Thoughtseize is out. Oh, it has to deal combat damage to a player. I thought it was on attack. This entire match, those of you who have been screaming for 20 minutes, you're totally right. Yeah, it has to hit an opponent, and then it hits another 3. I thought this was an attack trigger the whole time. We've been playing to know it. Nothing. No outs. Love it. I guess we're exclusively playing to the clock now. All right, just piling up Wastelands, which is probably what I would have done last turn. Taking me off black. Take me off white. Take me off all my colors. Oh, I should have used Polluted Delta to pay for that. It's a forest. I have to loot. I probably shouldn't be attacking, but I'm having fun. Discard Cling to Dust. These Bowmasters almost representing lethal damage if I could cast them. Making a Construct. Making another Saga. I'm just going to Swords to Plowshares this Construct right now so I can start F6ing. That was my plan anyway. Made another Construct. Wasteland, or loam targeting Wasteland, Wasteland Blast Zone. Wasting me, I'm sure. Oh yeah. Nothing left. Also 2 cards in my deck. If I attack with my Ring Bearer, I lose. So I won't be paying for that. Okay, just gonna pass. And let them spend however much time it takes to kill me. Big hit with a Construct. Lifelink. Not even lethal. They're gonna kill me with life points and deck points on the same turn. Absolute style. I haven't seen literally my entire deck unintentionally in a match in a long time. Sometimes I play decks that mill themselves or draw their whole deck on purpose, but this is a different thing. I know this does not make for engaging content, but take that up with my lands opponent. Okay, finally, a lethal attack. Played to 3 minutes up on the clock for sideboard games. They're basically going to have to Merit Lage me because nothing else could win fast enough. Serenity, Null Rod, Brazen Borrower, Force of Negation answers Loam effectively. Force of Will kind of sucks. Force of Negation actually just better here. I do like the Surgicals, especially since they're on Punishing Fire. I don't love Swords to Plowshares in the matchup. It does keep Merit Lage off my back, which I just said is how they're going to have to win. Maybe I just cut all the Thoughtseizes. Those were a tough top deck. Lavinia is no good. Oh, Soul God Lantern. Graveyard Hate. Strix, pretty anemic here. Okay, this looks like a plan. Keep my hand. It's got spells, Graveyard Hate, and Wasteland. Give it to me. Surgical, Force of Negation, Prismatic Ending. I do like all these cards. I don't like that they're not lands or cantrips. But if they waste me, I can cling their Wasteland, and that's a cantrip. Taiga, Exploration. I'm going to let that resolve. There's a Prismatic Ending on top of my deck. Prismatic End, the Exploration. Waste the Saga. And I am wasting Saga, not Taiga. I don't even want to mess around with what that could tutor for, or if they draw Ancient Tomb. Another one. Great. Cool. Alright. I'll have to dig. Force of Negation, your life from the loam. Get it out. We're not doing all that. Surgical, your Saga. I am going to do that in their draw step. I want to know that there's no more of these coming. Endurance, Crop Rotation. Okay. Don't really have time to look at their sideboard plan here. Okay. This fire is interesting because if I Bowmaster in the end step and they are inclined to punishing fire, then I can cling the fire and that's gone. Got me good. And now I have a real target for Cling to Dust that I'm pretty happy to rotate into something else. Okay, here we go. They have the crop rotation trick. Like, they float one in response to this trigger, crop rotate this into another land, and still get to search. They could just cast Endurance this turn, unless they got something better. Would have loved to force this, but didn't have a blue card. Was grabbing another Taiga. Oh, we drew Mox Diamond. You know their whole hand right now. Okay. Yeah, clearing my Cling to Dust makes sense. They have Pyroblast and Endurance. Force of Will right on time. You dick. Dark Depths in the mix. I am just going to block here. My job is to hang on for another 3 minutes and exile this Endurance. And just got to hope they don't rip exactly Thespian stage. They even have Pyroblast backup, so even if they rip stage and I rip my come on. Alright, give me those Swords to Plowshares I left in my deck. Okay, well done. You did it. Continuing the theme of decks with no manipulation drawing exactly what they need in runner draw steps. This league has been an absolute delight. On to the final round.
For the absolute best Magic the Gathering apparel on the market, check out the link in the video description to coalesceapparel.shop and be sure to use the code BoshNRoll for 10% off when you check out.
On the draw, in the final round, with a 0-lander. Mulligan. This one is much better. I'm going to keep and send one of the plows to the bottom. I'm not quite ready to cast Sauron's Ransom, but plow is the thing I have 2 of, and it might not even be good in the matchup. Let's find out. This is where their Death and Taxes. Polluted Delta. Underground Sea. Ponder. Okay. Thoughtseize versus Wasteland here is the decision. He did not shuffle the Ponder. I'm full of Thoughtseizes now. I'm going to fire one in. Underground Sea decks could be tempo, could be combo. It's tough when the best tempo deck is also Underground Sea deck alongside the best combo decks. Hello. I'll take this Infernal Tutor and hope that that's the end of it, I guess. They do have a card on top that they kept there with Ponder. If they kept another Tutor there, we could just die right now. But that was a Mind's Desire. Duress. I suspect you stripped the other Thoughtseize here. Yep, Thoughtseize is gone. I'm likely to Wasteland them here. Just constrict whatever I can. Oh, Ponder's a good find. This could change everything. Force of Will, fetch land. Yup. Do not shuffle. And I actually don't think I'm going to Wasteland, because I can Sauron's Ransom next turn. I would rather get my cards rolling than clip one of their potentially 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 mana. Cool. Got away with that one. I could also just snap Thoughtseize, save Sauron's Ransom. Snap Thoughtseize adds to my clock. That's interesting. I'm probably in the ransom business, though. And losing to a Duress stinks, but I am going to Thoughtseize. If they were sandbagging a payoff for a Duress, then I take the payoff. If they are sandbagging a Duress to wait for a payoff, then I take the Duress. If their hand is just all mana, that's where this is kind of low impact. It's easy. 3 LEDs and a Cabal Writ. Okay. Well, I'll take the Cabal Ritual. Here we are. My Kingdom for Cabal Therapy. Opponent's Kraken fetches basic Swamp. Alright. And I suspect this is Ad Nauseam Tendrils. Oh, yikes. Well, they're gonna... This is actually interesting. I would take the Ransom, personally. But I'm not a Storm expert. So I guess you don't know what you're going to draw. So if you leave me with Force, then every turn, any blue card turns it back on, versus if you're ready to jam next turn, it's a lot worse. I'm ransoming main phase in case I develop a land drop or something I want to be doing now. Also makes my pal the ring bearer, and I can wasteland plus Sam next turn to get up to loot level ring bearing. Brainstorm fetchland versus 2 unknowns. Brainstorm fetchland is pretty good. I'll take it. They took Island Thoughtseize, so they separated the black mana from the Thoughtseize. That's smart. I can brainstorm if I need to find an emergency answer. Let's just hope they don't draw a tutor right now. If I get one turn here to Sam and start looting, I'm going to feel a lot better. Oh no. Well, that could very quickly change everything, and that sucks. Please brick. Okay, they're passing the turn. Or they at least moved into second main. Alright, they passed the turn. We did it. Sick. We did it again. Okay, wasteland you first. And then Sam up my wasteland. Actually might be better to Sam up the fetch land, but I'm already committed here. Snapcaster continues being my ring bearer, and I'm gonna attack with it and loot away swords to plowshares. This is cool. Yep. Drew another one, but at least one of them's gone. My opponent knows I have Brainstorm and that I didn't cast it when I could have done it with a full fetch land action. They should be suspicious of that. Hopefully they can't do anything about it, but they should be suspicious of it. Ooh, no shuffle. It's possible they're just hiding a non-basic that they need from this wasteland. They might not have a second swamp. Gross. Okay, I guess I brainstormed to hide my stuff here. Hide the goods. This does build storm, though. Brainstorm in response. I don't like this. 2 forces. Okay, well. I will, put Cling to Dust on top. I'll give them a force, and I'll be able to hardcast one of them next turn. Maybe I should have put Wasteland on top so they can't read the hardcast. But if they try to take a line that... Oh, they gave me a target for Wasteland. Alright. Wasting them turns off hardcast force, which I think mana is not their gate right now. And I end up drawing and then discarding the Swords to Plowshares on top of the deck. The Cling's actually nuts because they're pretty low. Oh wait, mine's Desire's legal. I was about to say they're pretty low on a Nas line, and they might have to go past In Flames, but is Nas even in this deck anymore? Probably has to be. And I'm still gonna believe that holding up force is worth more than wasting them. Okay, in this end step, I can Cling twice, which is kind of busted. Okay, exile Cabal Ritual. Found a Strix, immediately escape this, exile Infernal Tutor. Probably should have started with that one. Another Cling, another card. 5 mana, draw 2 in the end step. Ooh, I can go off with Sam now. Murktide, Regent. Alright, I'm going to attack first. I have a loot here. Murktide is probably not important to this plan because they're dead on board anyway. Going off with Sam versus just having access to Mystic Sanctuary is way better. Play my Delta, Wasteland you. Now I have 5 anyway, and I'll just construct whatever I can. You have to get through Force and Flashback Fling, Cling, because I can do either, or I can do both. Neat. Alright, main deck Thoughtseize was a brick in a couple of rounds, but finally did what it was supposed to do against these combo heavy MTGO metagame, and look at me bring it in. Multiple hate pieces, bunch of extra counter spells. I think I want some number of surgical. I'm gonna assess how this looks after I move the stacks around a little bit. Wasteland is really good against the Epic Storm and not as good against Ad Nauseam Tendrils, and I believe we're against Ad Nauseam Tendrils, or at least whatever shell that is currently occupying. Prismatic Ending can take out Carpet of Flowers and Defense Grid kind of stuff, which called Talisman. Sam probably is not what my deck needs right now. Baleful Strix also sucks, except that it's a blue card. I could shave a Wasteland, play 19 lands. I think I like keeping my blue density high. One additional piece of Graveyard Hate on top of the Cling. I don't want to go too heavy on that. Okay, this works for me. I didn't see if they have Burning Wish or Past in Flames for the blue blast, but I have a bunch of stuff going on here. Some deeply hateful bears added to my deck that's already full of Thoughtseizes. Whoa, whoa, whoa. If we get a turn, we're done. I'm snap keeping this. Retweet to give a Storm player nightmares. Unfortunately, they are on the play, though. And they're mulling to 5, which is dangerous because combo players on low numbers tend to get more desperate, and they might just jam. All right, opponent doesn't subscribe to that. All right, let's see if you boarded in Veil of Summers. I'd still like to get rid of it, even if you did. I accept the blowout. Show me your thoughts. I'd like to seize one of them. Dark Ritual Thoughtseize LED. The Thougtseize, so LED enables the most busted stuff here. The Thoughtseize will probably look at my hand and concede. There's a good chance of it. I'm going to take this actually kind of tight between Ritual and LED. Because they get to take either Lavinia or Null Rod. I'm just going to take the LED. That enables the most busted nonsense next turn. Basic Island, or Swamp, whatever that is. Thoughtseize. Took the Null Rod with Reckless Rage. Not playing a land drop when you just saw Lavinia in my hand. I'm suspicious of that. They had a land drop there. They have a land in their hand. I know about it. That's interesting. I genuinely don't know what that means. Like, normally I'd say they're trying to figure something out with a Brainstorm, but that's the land that lets them cast Brainstorm. I don't know, but I'm going to put Lavinia into play. This deck has a very hard time winning with this card around. There's that land. And if I draw a colored source, I can Thoughtseize plus Murktide. I'm just going to Thoughtseize, though. What you got? I guess I have to. Oh, okay. You got a Dark Ritual. And I'm going to attack. And I can Surgical Dark Rituals in the draw step and get another one. That's like a Thoughtseize. And I get Perfect Information. Surgical Dark Ritual. I hope they drew a third one. Brainstorm in hand. And let's look at this deck. There is Burning Wish, there is Past in Flames, 2 Mind's Desire. I do not see an Ad Nauseam. 3 Surgicals, 1 Tendrils. More Thoughtseizes. Bunch of Duress. Okay. I mean, Brainstorm's about as good a card as they could have found there. But playing the Underground Sea pre-Brainstorm. I guess that saves the fetch at the cost of you guarantee a shuffle, but you don't get to keep 2 cards. I did not check for answers to Lavinia when I was looking at their deck, and I didn't screenshot it. I'm lazy and bad. Brainstorm. Get in with Lavinia. And let's just put this game on the shortest possible clock. Bang. The Murktide. Shuffling with the fetch. Glad to see they didn't like their card. Cool. And the classic BoshNRoll trope remains true. Having kind of a rough league, and then we just dumpster storm in the last round. Love it. Okay. This deck felt like steps in the right direction. I had a couple small imperfect plays in the first round or two that ended up coming back to get me. We also played against multiple non-blue, no manipulation opponents who just drew exactly what they needed multiple turns in a row versus our Ponder Brainstorm engine up and running. So that was embarrassing. But adding just 3 Murktide Regent to the top end of this thing already felt like a better deck than the other versions of this I played. Sauron's Ransom, it's the first time I've gotten to cast this card, and I like it a lot. I don't think it's busted. I don't think it's like the new EI or anything, but this is certainly an engine. Especially with Mystic Sanctuary, you can get it going. And this is not a Daze deck, but if you were a Daze deck, we've seen these play patterns before with cheaper cards. I don't know if we're really leveraging Sam extremely well here. There are a bunch of dedicated Sam decks, some black-white Dead Guy Ale style stuff that's really cool. Picking up Wasteland, picking up Fetchland, I do like that stuff. We never did get to trade off a creature in combat, then pick it up with Sam and just kind of go off with Snapcaster Mage or anything. That didn't happen. But it didn't really have to. It was kind of a cool value engine that also is a flash threat in combat. My big criticism of this deck is that I think that although it added another color, which makes its mana worse and makes its spells, air quotes, better, I think this deck is still worse than Death Shadow, which is largely doing the same kind of thing. We're basically just Death Shadow with Swords of Plowshares and Sam for reasons, rather than just the most efficient murderous creatures in Magic's history. It's a really tough time to be justifying a Murktide deck that isn't Death Shadow. It doesn't have like Grief Scam in it or doesn't splash Pyroblast. I think that Grixis is better than Esper, and I think that straight blue-black is better than both. And that's my criticism of the deck. If you want to play kind of a tempo Sam deck, here you go. This is fine. Tune the slots a little bit, play tighter than I did in the start of this league, but this deck has the tools, and I'm pretty happy with it compared to the other versions of this we've done so far. Justin, thank you for sharing it with us. Everyone else, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out the Patreon and the sponsors that support the channel, and I'll see you next time.